Hey there, my lovely friend, it's a soft, still evening where I am. The kind where the air feels calm, and the world has slowed down just enough for you to notice it. Outside my window, the light is fading into that deep, gentle blue before night settles in. I have a notebook open beside me, a pen resting on the page, waiting for me to spill out whatever thoughts have been circling in my head today. And one thought keeps coming back: your greatest teacher is your last mistake. I know, not exactly the kind of teacher we're taught to admire. Mistakes are the ones we usually try to avoid, hide from, forget as quickly as possible. But the more I live, the more I realize they're also the ones that shape us most deeply. Mistakes have this quiet power. They nudge you, sometimes uncomfortably, toward growth. They make you face the edges of your comfort zone, those places you'd probably rather not go. But here's the catch: most of us never give our mistakes the chance to teach us anything. Why? Fear. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of getting it wrong. Fear of not being perfect on the first try, so instead of stepping forward, we step back. Instead of trying, we wait. We protect ourselves from failure, but in doing so, we also protect ourselves from success, because here's the thing: if failure is not an option, then success isn't either. Tonight, I want to spend a little time with you exploring this truth: how our mistakes can be our most powerful teachers, and why giving ourselves permission to fail might just be the smartest thing we can do. So, wherever you are right now, on a walk, cooking dinner, or curled up somewhere comfortable, take a deep breath. Let's talk about how to make peace with mistakes, and maybe even start to welcome them. You know, we're taught from a young age to chase the right answers, to color inside the lines, to pass the test. And somewhere along the way, we start to believe that the goal in life is to avoid mistakes altogether. But here's the truth I keep coming back to: mistakes are not the opposite of success, they're part of the path to it. Think about the last time you learned something truly important. Maybe it was a skill, maybe it was a life lesson. I'm willing to bet there was at least one misstep along the way, a moment you misunderstood, stumbled, or even felt embarrassed, and yet, without that moment, you wouldn't have learned what you now know. Mistakes strip away the illusion that growth is neat and tidy. They show us where we still have something to learn. They reveal gaps we didn't know existed, and, if we're willing to look closely, they point us toward exactly what needs our attention. I once heard someone say that your last mistake is like a mirror. It reflects where you are right now, but also hints at where you could be if you keep going. I love that image, because it means that even the uncomfortable, messy moments are still moving us forward. The hard part, allowing ourselves to actually make those mistakes in the first place. Fear has a way of holding us back. Fear of judgment. Fear of letting someone down. Fear of looking like we don't know what we're doing. And here's the sneaky part: that fear doesn't just stop us from failing. It also stops us from trying. But the reality is simple: you can't have one without the other. If you want success, in your career, your health, your relationships, anything, you have to be willing to trip, to fall, to get it wrong. The question isn't, will I mess up? The question is, what will I learn when I do? And that's why, in this conversation, I want us to flip the script. Instead of avoiding mistakes, we're going to start seeing them for what they really are, unexpected teachers that show up in our lives with lessons we might not have gotten any other way. Something shifts inside us when we stop treating mistakes like the enemy and start treating them like guides. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're learning to ride a bike. The first time you fall, it's easy to think, I'm not good at this. But if you stay curious instead of critical, you start asking different questions. Why did I lose my balance? How can I keep it next time? That shift, from judgment to curiosity, is where real growth begins. Mistakes train us to look at challenges differently. They teach resilience, not just skill. Every time you get back up after failing, you reinforce this quiet, powerful belief, I can handle hard things. And that belief will carry you far beyond the specific mistake you made. There's also something freeing about making peace with mistakes. When you know you can recover from getting it wrong, you stop walking on eggshells. You start experimenting more. You try ideas you might have been too scared to test before. You speak up in the meeting. You practice your English out loud even if you're not sure about the grammar. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you're willing to make mistakes, the faster you learn. Because you're not just collecting information, you're actively engaging with it, shaping it through trial and error. I've seen this with so many English learners. The ones who improve fastest aren't necessarily the ones who know the most vocabulary. They're the ones who use the words they do know, even if they're not perfect. They ask questions when they're confused. They laugh when they mess up. They keep going, and over time, their confidence grows not because they've eliminated mistakes, but because they built trust in themselves to navigate them. So maybe the question isn't, how do I stop making mistakes? Maybe it's, how do I let my mistakes teach me? Because when you can do that, every stumble becomes a step forward. You know, mistakes have this funny way of feeling bigger than they really are. They can sit on our shoulders, whispering, you messed up. You're not good enough. But here's the thing, a mistake isn't the end of the story. It's just a moment in the story. And you get to decide what happens next. So, let's talk about some gentle, practical ways to turn your mistakes into lessons, instead of letting them weigh you down. First, pause before you react. When something goes wrong, it's so easy to panic, to get defensive, or to start beating ourselves up. But the best thing you can do in that moment is stop. Breathe. Give yourself a little space, a few seconds, a few deep breaths. Maybe even a few hours, before you decide what to do next. It's like stepping back from a painting. When you're too close, all you see are messy brushstrokes. Step back, and you can finally see the whole picture. Second, ask better questions. Instead of saying, why am I so bad at this? Try asking, what can I learn from this? What would I do differently next time? Better questions always lead to better answers. Third, break it down. Think of yourself like a detective, looking at the scene and figuring out exactly what happened. When did things start to go wrong? Was it a lack of preparation? A misunderstanding? A wrong assumption? The clearer you are about the cause, the more you can actually use that lesson moving forward. Fourth, write it down. I can't tell you how powerful this is. Keep a little lessons learned notebook. Every time something doesn't go as planned, write it down. What happened, what you learned, and what you'll do differently next time. Over time, you'll start to see a trail of progress you didn't even realize you were making. Fifth, share it. One of the fastest ways to make peace with a mistake is to turn it into advice for someone else. Tell a friend. Share it in a post. Teach it to someone who's just starting out. When you do this, you take the sting out of the mistake and turn it into something meaningful. And last, keep perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a month? In a year? If the answer is no, let it go. Not every mistake deserves to take up space in your mind forever. At the end of the day, mistakes are just chapters in your story. Some of them are short and funny. Some of them are long and painful, but all of them, every single one, has something to teach you. So next time you mess up, instead of closing the book, maybe turn the page, because you never know, the lesson on the next page might just change everything. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want you to take a moment, right here, right now, and think about your most recent mistake. Maybe it was small, sending a text to the wrong person,